Hello, everybody! Welcome back to our Wings engine. Secondary development tutorial. Today, let's supplement it for you. The last custom properties panel. Such a customs property. It's our data. At the same time, we also take you to take a look. The reading and processing of our data. That is to say, how can we find out in our secondary development? To issue a custom data attribute. At the same time, binding data. What about after binding the data? We're going to read this data again and do some calculations. What about a project we're going to demonstrate to you today? It's us binding some sales data. Then we calculate. After calculating the sum of the values of these data and displayed on the interface. Okay, let's see how to make these. Okay, we've added a single line of text here. And we wrote some code, right? Today, we can use this code script. Go and mount another script. As I said earlier, we can mount multiple scripts in one component. We can display it up and down in this way. You can also use this tab display method. Okay, what about after mounting the script? We click Edit. So we called up one of our codes. What about after calling up the code? Let's take a look first. How can we create such an array? Such a custom property of the data. We can both inside our custom properties panel. And find. Find all our custom properties. Find our data. Data field OK. Okay, so it's done this way. There is a field. Then a default. And then you can set it up. How many fields can be bound to this field? In other words, like our form, it may bind many. We can have one field per column. Yes, maybe only one can be bound. But this is actually a very simple one. We can also not set it by default. Leave this flexibility. Generally speaking, you don't bind the data incorrectly. And what about our field? Are there any of the following methods? We have defaulted. Is it created? And readData. readDataSync. Including static. We can go directly to read it. Use field direct read data. Why do we need a static method? Yes, sometimes we need to read several fields simultaneously. Then we need to merge and read. How about we use it this way? These are some advanced uses. And then we looked at the API. We can go to the technical tutorial. Find data read. Here's a complete example. teach us how to read. Today, we will take this case as the criterion. Let's take a look. First of all, this data. We are going to replicate this data. Then put it in our Excel. And we save the data. You can plug it in. And we shall determine the properties of such a field. Let's go first. Let's go inside to open. Give this field attribute. Of course or in our comment code. Find such a field. We can also search directly. Found debug 5. Okay, let's uncomment it. Then we need to read it. What do we read? This is also here. Can be found directly. Then we have a one-step reading here. Such a method. Let's take a look first. Are we in that tutorial? There will be an explanation like this here. The point is that there are two. One is the way we read the data. We can read the data in two ways. One is called reading data. It's called readDataSync. What about reading data? It is read directly with a callback. readDataSync returns a promise. Although it is written, reading data thinking will be more concise. However, we still recommend that you use the readData method. Why do we have a specific emphasis here? Because the read data will be read for the first time. And when the data changes, we'll trigger a callback. How about this? We can put the data processing code uniformly written in the callback function. No need for a first read. Learn when the data changes. I don't know if you can understand this sentence. That is to say, can our readData put this callback function? We have a callback data changed back here. This callback function, it changes when the data content. Okay, or when the settings are modified. We'll trigger this callback. And it will also trigger this callback the first time. Then we just need to write the data here. This one. Such a data processing logic is enough. Because we don't need a theory. The first time we came in, we need to deal with it. If the data changes, let's write another piece of code. It's very repetitive. If you think about reading data, it's sort of an active trigger method. It doesn't have a mechanism. So it's a little bit repetitive when you write it. Okay, then we respect it. We write this way in this document. We use this to read data directly. We went in here and found this way to read data. We'll take notes. Pay attention. Must this callback on data changed be true? Otherwise, it doesn't go back when the data changes. Okay, so what? Let's deal with it in no hurry. Let's just print it. Then we bind it in it. This data. We chose the one we just had. Then we just configured two. Let's refresh it. We have the data. What happens when the data comes out? Where exactly is it set up? We can either just click on it. We can see it under Data tab. It will be like this for everyone. Secondary development code to generate a word of data. It is such a small tab of data. Of course, if you don't have data fields in it, then it's gone. Like our sample 3, there is no such thing. Then sample 7 is available. There's an 8th 5. Then we have already put our previous one in advance. The data is ready. It's already bounded. If you don't know how to bind it, let's click this Edit directly. Let's tie everyone up. Click Edit, then Excel. Then we choose an Excel like ours. Data field, Test Data. There's a checkbox. Do you want to copy the data file to the root directory? That depends on you. For example, if we copy, we will export this project later. It will take this Excel with it. The data is also taken and exported. If we don't copy, it's like it's right where you are. It means that you, for example, originally put it on the desktop. By default, we don't copy it. We're going to change it later. Okay, and this gives us a data set like this. Of. That's the data that we just wrote. As for us, because we have to modify it, so we just click here. Then open the folder. Then we can open it. We open this folder. Because this one has dual screens. Now it opens on another screen. Let's drag it in. Open it here. So this is the data that we had. We're going to change it later. Okay, what about after this data is completed? We put our sales. Let's take a look. Sales column. We bind this sales volume to this D85. Bind it up and let's save it. In theory, it should be printed at this time. Let's take a look at the print. It prints out like this. Hey, what kind of data structure is this? Let's move on to our documentation. It's said in our documentation. We have a total of 3 reading methods. Which 3? Called object rows and columns. How about these 3? This is explained in detail in our code comments. Our default is our role. It's our role to print it out now. Let's look at the needle. For such a data table, if it's a row, so it's A1, B1, and C1. Just like this, row by row of arrays. A B-A to B2, C to A3, B3, C3. That's it. Then why did we print this here? It's because we only bound one field, right? Take a look. We bind a field sales. Then it prints out the sales volume. Then every sales volume, it is a field. Then if we pull another one, pull another one up. Good to see coffee 329. Orange juice 725, plum juice 363, pistachios 6 to 9. This is the way we row. Let's look at the way the object works again. The way the object is actually cleaner, neater. That is to say, we generally, if you want your code to be completely error-free and not very hacked, then we actually recommend the way the object is. What's the difference when writing code? For example, here I'm going to add it. Then I might be looking for every meat. Then place an order with meat to get this sales volume. How about this? The advantage is that it's very simple. The downside is that, suppose my data binding has changed. It's not one anymore, is it? It's got another one by it. There's another one in front. Then it might be two. Then it's not very stable. If this code is used in the way of our object, it's stable. We can directly use its key value. Then, to get its value, like this, it even ties this whole order to change. The number of fields changes. It won't invalidate my code. Okay, column. Is that a different situation? That is, it corresponds to rows. You see it per it is per column as an array. Then it is a column as A1, A2, A3. Then as an array. Then be column B1, B2, B3. C1, C to C3. So what if we add up this list? In fact, it is also very convenient for us to use columns, right? What about after we use the column? Let's just pull this column out. This array is directly summed up. This is a very, very convenient one. But what about today? Since we default to row, we will show you the mode of writing rows. The other two modes, you can explore it for yourself. Okay, let's get back to our code here. We've just finished, and we have printed the root method. As I said earlier, the biggest problem with it is its poor compatibility. So, we need to see what data we are binding now. That is to say, it requires the binding of this data. For example, what I am binding now is such data. It represents the sales I need to get. Is on _1. Let's loop for a second. First, for a row of data. And then our sales of each one. Cell number equals row. Next line E. Then we set a sum outside. Okay, so here we sum up the cell numbers. And then we ray at the end. Set it to its text properties. Let's click it. Just like before us. Click on this style. Found this text? Invoke settings. We click on it, and then we paste it on here. Okay, so we can put some of this in. Be more rigorous. Then let's do another type conversion for it. It'll be better this way. It is actually possible to set it directly. Let's take a look at our code. Did it take effect? Let's go to the code side and refresh it. In fact, if it is printed directly here, it means it takes effect. You'll see it again. It has been added in full. Let's see if the addition is correct. Here's 1,000. That's 1,000. This is also 1,000. Very good, this one is right. So this is our total sales. Then let's test it out at this time. Our code. If the data changes, will it change automatically? What about us? Find our data. Point Edit Data. Click it to open the folder. I just demonstrated that. I'll directly click on the data we just had. Pay attention. Everyone must pay attention. If everyone is when there. Using Excel as a form of data. If everyone is talking about if that copy is ticked, please don't edit the original document, because that is equivalent to the original file. It has lost its relationship with this data. Let's see. According to the way I just did. Click on it and then click on this folder to open it. Hey, I have the original file here, so I'll just add 1,000 to it and save it. We came back here. Back here? It depends on the settings. What if we set our data? Refresh per second. Then when it actually plays. Be careful not when editing. During preview. Or when you finally deliver it to your customers. It will refresh every second. Then we don't need to do anything. It refreshed in a second. If you say, for example, other data, for example, this kind of web socket, then it will directly push according to your push. Then go to refresh. So here we are in the editing state. And we are Excel. Then we need to refresh this manually. Let's click on this data to refresh. We can see the refresh here. Yes, I just added 1,000 here. This is it. A complete one. How do we bind our data? Custom attribute. Let's take a look. Binding a data custom property. Here it is. There is a settings item. After we take it out, can be bound here. What about after binding the data? We array in the code. Use readData to fall back on the entire data. Do a calculation and send it to our text component. And everyone remembers. readData then, it is every time the data content changes. Or when the data is modified like this, we'll trigger this callback. So we can put all the. It's the data processing code. Just write it down this time. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much.